solicitors specialising in personal injury claims.
This guy had said that he'd been assaulted in a pub, so we proceeded with the case. We then get the other side saying, no, we've actually got the CCTV video of this. And of course, he's there, isn't he? Right at it.
In a brawl.
In a brawl. Him starting it. So we sue him, we say, right, here's our bill, we're going to sue you. So he rings up and they say, I'm a poor student, I can't pay, can't do this, that and the other. You're paying.
Welcome to the world of no win, no fee. Andrew Twombly and Martin Cox, the bosses at Amaland Solicitors, are the quintessential rich lawyers with posh houses in Cheshire's footballer belt and all the boys' toys, including a top-of-the-range Jag each.
The only other toy we've got is my imitation partner, so when Martin's away, pass us your toy, mate. I'll put this in his chair. If we need anyone to be aggressive at somebody, that's our pocket Martin. You press his tummy like you do the real thing, and he spouts stuff like this. So we don't really need him here most of the time. So when he's away, put that in his chair and no one ever knows the difference. The only difference between the two of them is that the toy's got more hair.
2.5 years ago, in response to the bad publicity surrounding dodgy claims management companies, Amaland set up Injury Lawyers for You, a consortium of no-win, no-fee solicitors who spend more than £6 million a year on TV advertising.
Give me something to incorporate into a new campaign.
Hi guys, boss is here.
Hello.
Today, they've brought in their ad agency to kick around a few ideas for a new campaign. Andrew likes to keep these things informal and physical.
What a day. You going to kiss Matt?
No. I shook his hand, that'll do.
The key is that we've hit upon a formula that clearly works, and we all know that, and we want to continue in that vein. Even though it is, as Matt says, this is designed to kind of be possibly the last one in this particular campaign style. The production values are going to seem much bigger because we're taking it out on location. I'll talk you through exactly how.
If the campaign is successful, it should generate new clients. These are fielded by Phil Banks, whose job it is to sort out the cranks from the claimants.
Not a problem, thanks, Michael. Bye, bye. That one's a guy who's living in temporary accommodation with his wife and 4.5 children. I don't know how you have 4.5 children. Maybe.
Person delivering the message, and everything else that happens just develops.
The ad agency continued to machine gun Amaland with ideas for their ad.
This is me and Matt's idea that you stole.
This is my idea that you stole. That's your building site stroke industrial environment.
Essentially the studio environment that looks as small as the ones we've done before, smaller than the ones we've done before.
It's almost like here's our office in such and such a city, and he's walking through them all.
What I don't want to portray is the call centre, which is getting such a bad load of rep at the moment in the newspapers and TV. If we show in a call centre, it'll put people off.
Oddly enough, the first point of contact for IL for You customers is a call centre. Phil's just taken the details of another new case, an RTA, road traffic accident in London.
OK, thanks, bye. That was a chap who's been out one evening and he's on his way home on a push bike and he's been struck by a car.
Well, what I remember was I had a very good night. I left the pub about 11:30 at night. I picked up my bike from inside the pub. I crossed the first road when all of a sudden I got hit by a car. I can't remember the police turning up, I can't remember the ambulance turning up because I was unconscious.
Sasha suffered a dislocated shoulder, a broken foot and head injuries in the accident.
And what's to say someone has actually hit me with a car, you know? I mean, but the doctors tell me that you can't just sustain these injuries by falling off a bike. Most important for me is to find out exactly what happened, gather the evidence before I actually can continue with the personal injury claim. Even though it's gone down, it really hurts here on my bone. So if I was knocked unconscious, then it leaves me in a bit of a black hole, so to speak.
Sasha's case is a tricky one for Amaland. His memory of events is non-existent, no witnesses have been forthcoming, and the identity of the hit-and-run driver remains a complete mystery. Luckily, in cases like these, the MIB, or Motor Insurance Bureau, are on hand to help.
Occasionally you get road traffic matters whereby the person who's guilty of the offence either doesn't exist, has disappeared, or is uninsured. Well, if someone's suffered severe injuries and there's no one to actually sue, or the person who's sued has got no money, then it's not good. So all the insurers have clubbed together and they pay into a fund called the Motor Insurers Bureau. But we have personnel in place here who do solely MIB work.
One of these specialist solicitors is Kerry Millward. She's been assigned to Sasha's case.
Can I just ask how much you'd had to drink prior to the accident?
Prior to the accident, about 4 pints and about 2 brandies. We weren't pissed, that's for sure. You know, drunk.
All right, Mr. Dennis.
Thank you very much for that.
No problem. Provided, you know, his bike was well lit, as it should be, then I don't anticipate any problems with liability.
Here he is. Mr. Gay UK. What? You? Why? What? Evidence of not being gay?
Amelans relies on its computers to make the business work. Sean Collins is responsible for the smooth running of the software.
You're slow. You are slow.
I started off with a computer when I was about 8. Probably from the age of about 14 I knew what I wanted to do. And I've been doing it ever since. Been here for, coming up 3 years in January.
Andrew, recognising Sean's indispensable contribution, treats him with due respect.
It started off as Sean the Scouser. They then mainly went up to Sean the Prawn. There's a new one developing lately called Shaun of the Dead. But I think really summarises his character.
I just get abused 24/7, but it's just water off a duck's back now. If you dish it out and you can't take it, then don't dish it out. But I don't dish it out and I still manage to take it also. It's a laugh, isn't it?
How long will that process take?
Crucial to Sasha's claim is proof that he was hit by a car. The only evidence so far is the seriousness of his injuries. Amelans assigns an agent, ex-copper Jack Kennedy, to help gather evidence.
All right, that's where we're going. On that corner, where it happened. All I know is a bloke was driving around from Hammersmith. He was driving down here, and he stated that my head and the top of my torso was in Fulham Palace Road.
Yeah.
My legs were in Graham Road, which is this road.
Yeah.
And he said he was driving down here and he stopped. He was the one who called the police.
At the end of the day,
A return to the scene of the crime, as in all the best detective novels, throws up a new lead.
See the camera underneath the blue sign where that tree is?
Yeah.
You've got that.
The local council should be able to recover the footage from their camera. The pub across the road also has its own cameras. Sasha and Jack have a word with the landlord.
Basically, they're going to put the video camera aside, for that specific night, and hopefully when we get hold of the police to find out who actually attended the scene, then they could actually come and pick up the video, and we can actually see what's on it.
Andrew got the email from Louisa Cook.
This coming weekend, Sean and Andrew are booked into an IT conference at Glen Eagles in Scotland.
What time's the first lecture?
As soon as we get there in the morning, there'll be the first 2, I think, at 9 and 10.
It's a full and demanding schedule, and that's just the leisure activities.
What's that?
That is what the theme is for the night.
Gangsters. You can wear your normal Scouse gear then, can't you?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Leaving Sean to sort out the violin cases and horses' heads, Andrew attends his daily meeting with inductions manager Phil Banks. Phil's got a stack of new cases to sort through.
Yes, no,
Yes.
no, yes, no. Good, bad, 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 good.
Yeah.
Go. Smash it.
Okay, first case, a claim for a baby. A mother was feeding us some Heinz baby food. She gave her a couple of spoonfuls, then found that there was some glass in the actual baby food. The only thing is, baby's not suffered any injury.
Nothing at all?
Nothing at all. Nothing at all. No injury.
What are you looking at me for then?
Last one, a chap called Ken Downs. He's walking on the pavement when his foot caught with a BT manhole cover.
Ken injured his shoulder in the fall, but when he's fit enough to work, he's a health and safety officer, always alert to potential hazards.
Caught the foot, staggered and turned and hit my shoulder into the pavement around about here.
He's back at the accident scene, doing a reconstruction, just to make sure he's got his facts straight.
Because I deal with health and safety, I can be very boring. I go to hotels and I look at fire extinguishers just to see if they're in date.
At work, Ken deals with cases like this all the time. So, armed with his camera and tape measure, he collects evidence for the Manchester solicitors, even with his arm in a sling.
I've seen the advert, Injury Lawyers for You. My first question when I actually phoned up was, what's the catch?
As far as Andrew's concerned, there is no catch. He's a modern-day Robin Hood. The press, however, see it differently.
I'm reading the latest edition of the Daily Express, which contains another pop at lawyers and alleged compensation culture once again, trying to wind up the general public about claiming, etc., confirming that the Manchester City Council, our council, spend in excess of £2 million a year on compensation for people tripping over their pavements. What it doesn't say is what would they do if they spent £2 million on fixing the bleeding pavements in the first place and stop people falling over. Will you get me the number of the Manchester City Council Claims Department and try and fix...
While Andrew arranges his bridge-building exercise with Manchester City Council, Andrea Brimlow, the solicitor in charge of Ken Downs' case, gets some bad news.
They've basically written to us advising that they don't believe they're responsible for the accident for the reason basically that the defect is less than an inch. However, they haven't actually provided me with any evidence to show that the defect is less than an inch or even provided me with any other documentation in support of their claim. All they've sent me is just the single letter on its own.
The council have agreed to meet Andrew. He's off to see Paul Murphy, the man who deals with personal injury litigation and ostensibly Andrew's #1 enemy.
How friendly he'll be to me, I don't know, so I don't know what he knows about me yet.
I've never held them in the highest esteem, and they're certainly not on my Christmas card list.
He thinks they're all ambulance-chasing, jag-driving millionaires. Well, that's not the case.
I'm looking forward to it in a way, because I've never had the opportunity to meet lawyers before who are our adversaries in some cases.
Bexley Heath Council are still denying any liability in Ken Downs' case, and so is British Telecom, the owners of the manhole cover, who clearly state their defence.
They're actually saying that it's... like there you can see it's actually raised up. What they're saying is it's not the box that's defective, it's actually the pavement.
Andrea calls Ken with a case update.
Just a call to say I've had a letter in from BT today. Yep. They've basically advised that they're actually going to deny liability for your accident on the basis that they're saying they've been out to visit the location obviously where your accident occurred, with the highways inspector. Now what they've said is when they both measured the defect, it was only in a difference of 18 millimetres.
Right. 18 millimetres. You see, size really does matter. Slip and trip cases are governed by the pre-metric but still definitive 1-inch rule. Something Phil Banks explains to prospective claimants about 1,000 times every day.
It's not a rule. Basically, we've made a decision that any tripping hazards less than an inch we possibly wouldn't take due to it probably not being actionable.
A pavement showdown.
Paulie, pleased to meet you.
I knew Andrew told me he looked just like...
Andrew goes toe-to-toe with the man who's in charge of fighting claims against Manchester City Council.
Solicitors have a moral obligation, as well as, yes, they have to make money, or else, there's no point in them studying law.
Yeah.
But they do at least have some moral obligation to examining the claim and saying, look, how come the same family, as we found in Manchester, 3 people in the same family all fell over the same trick claim?
Just outside the house.
Just outside, and they were all witnesses for each other.
I think you'll find that in the very near future, the claims that are coming in are going to get less and less and less. And people are realising now that City Council aren't the easy touch they used to be.
We're spending 2.2 million currently. If I didn't have to spend that, I'd be spending it on the pavements in Manchester and reducing that even further. The people that walk this street are actually the recipients of the bill that comes as a result of that type of fraudulent claim. Should we go and have a warm cup of tea?
Yes, please.
That'd be a good idea.
Free to freeze it.
Worried that he may have been a millimetre out, Ken, the man who checks the dates on fire extinguishers, decides to verify his measurements. He looks. And he looks. And he looks. But there's no mistaking, BT has tampered with the evidence.
The fact that they've repaired it, to me, indicates that they recognise that there was a problem. So, on one hand, they're saying it's not our fault. On the other hand, they're saying we've got a problem here. We need to do something about it.
It is a bit disappointing, but it's not the end of the road at the end of the day, because quite happily we've got the evidence to show that the defect is actionable. So it's, at the end of the day, if anything, it's going to just come down to an argument between Bexleyheath and BT as to who's responsible.
In London, Sasha Dennis has taken a turn for the worse. Overnight, he's been rushed back into hospital.
On Friday, I got a pain in my side about 7 o'clock in the evening. At 11 o'clock, I collapsed at the top of the stairs. And on Monday, they diagnosed that I had a blood clot on my lung. Yeah, I mean, they said it actually stemmed from my broken leg. The blood clots come from my broken leg and it's on my lung. Basically, if they don't thin the blood, and I don't move about too much, then hopefully they get rid of it. If they don't thin the blood, then obviously the blood clot's going to move, it go in my heart, my brain, I could be dead. That's how fatal it is. It's not nice, surrounded by all old people, farting, spitting blood and everything, you know? Well, the geezer over in that bed, every morning, blood, wee, near to the toilet. I'm like that, time to go.
The new IL for You advert is close to a final cut. Andrew and Denise are called into the edit suite for a viewing.
Hi, lovely to meet you. Hi, nice to meet you.
Matt. Well, injury lawyers for you. Let's say I had an accident. Will I receive 100% of the compensation?
Yes, absolutely.
Call our team direct on 0845 345.
Andrew Scorsese has spotted a problem.
One thing stands out amongst all others.
Well,
his hair's so funny at the front.
No, what's going on with that guy's hair? It's a serious quick.
Go in, it's not.
You just look at that.
That's shot from below.
I think it is the angle as well.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
But it just looks like he's gone from...
Simon's right.
Simon's always right.
Injury lawyers for you. Make sure all our people give nothing.
No, that's very, very good.
Best work.
Very good. Absolutely superb scenes, aren't they?
Yeah. Amelans are happy. This ad has rocked Andrew's world.
Si, pleasure.
You are a genius.
You
are. You can really push
Don't
with your
go telling him
fees.
that.
Phil's taking the details of yet another trip claim.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
OK. Thanks. Cheers, bye. He swears he's a lord. I wouldn't mind, but he sounds like Del Boy on the phone. I'll take a photocopy of it and I'll show it Andrew. Right, you need to film this guy, right? Well, just have a look at his coat of arms. He's fallen over. This is stately home where he lives.
That's a stately couch.
Where his mates.
Is that Lord Screaming Lord Dutch?
That's what he's tripped over.
That's the worst Paco. He looks like an earthquake victim.
It's all over the
Where's that? He's outside the palace.
Oh, look, there it is.
3 days before Sean goes on his jolly to Glen Eagles with Andrew, there's a problem.
What's happened is this weekend we've had an upgrade done, which has gone from a new version of the case management system to the old version to the new version. And when they've come in, they've upgraded the databases, but haven't pointed the software at the right place. Is the easy way to put it. So when I come in sort of yesterday to check everything was all right, and Denise came in, there was 2 months worth of accounts information missing.
My computer's not working. Everyone else's computer's on go slow. Sean's sweating. Being the IT manager, the only person who knows about it. He gets paid for it, so he's going to sort it all out.
Sean's not the only person struggling in the office. Kerry's wading through mud with the Sasha Dennis case. No witnesses have appeared, the police have no record of the incident, and the council's taped over its CCTV footage. The last hope is the pub landlord.
Right, can I just verify, have the tapes been given to the police? Is there any way of finding that out? So you don't know where the tapes are, so it's possible the police could have got the tapes, but you don't know. So you don't view the tapes at all? Nobody views them until such time as you're contacted by the police? Do you not keep a record, obviously, when police come in and ask you for details? And you're the manager, are you? So why can't you tell me whether the police have asked for this tape? Is there anything you can do to help us? Right, thanks for your time anyway. Hopeless. Absolutely hopeless.
2 days to go before the Glen Eagles trip, and Sean's abilities are still being stretched.
I'll come down in a sec. All right. Denise, she might have a missing file from when it crashed. When you've done it, it's not come out and saved because it's crashed. Was it long?
Yes. Very.
Much?
Yes. Another
Sorry.
4 pages.
I have a habit of just closing things off.
Yes,
every
but
so
I
often.
was closing it off every so often. I just closed it off at that point and then it just crashed. So, ho-hum.
If I can go wrong this week, it's going to, isn't it? With me going away. Radiator's gone on the car this week, yeah? Boiler went in the house. I've had that fixed. Server's gone today. Best server went yesterday. Best server's never had a thing wrong with it in a year since I set it up. Not one thing. And 2 days before I go away, it goes.
Right.
The police have phoned Kerry with extra information on Sasha Dennis's case. They have, after all, located an incident or CAD report covering Sasha's accident.
Report direct. Is there going to be any additional information in the CAD report other than what we already know? Drunk male, fallen off bike. Right, so Mr. Dennis actually said he'd fallen off his bike. OK, that's fine. Thanks for all your help again. We'll wait to receive your letter. Thanks. Cheers, bye. Unfortunately, the CAD report shows that there was no other vehicle involved and Sasha was actually conscious, apparently, according to the report. At the time he was collected, he didn't want to go into the ambulance, and the CAD report essentially says drunk male, fallen off bike, or something very much along those lines. It means essentially that I don't think we can pursue his claim.
Can't find the police, can't get this camera, can't get that camera, can't find no witnesses. It's just one thing after another after another. I haven't been out of work for 15 years and all of a sudden I've been out of work for 10 weeks. It's a culture shock, if anything. Two rugrats and a missus to support. It's hard. It's not easy.
The new IL4U ad is due to start screening on national TV, and Amalan staff will be glad of any new business it generates.
We had a bad week. last week. Hopefully we'll have a few good days, but the rotor's going around quite slow, but I think that's probably the weather and that, so. Just have to see what tomorrow has in store. Should get busier towards the end of the middle of the week. So. Next.
But Sean's still working flat out. Tomorrow's trip is starting to look unlikely.
It's stressful for me because I have everybody shouting at me and my computer's not working. And certain people in the office do that for fun, just to see if they can get a reaction out of me, which they generally do.
Whoa, 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 Sean, what's this?
What's what?
Nothing.
That's all right. I can't get any more stressed than I already am, so it's just like water off duck's back now.
So it'll sort it out. You watch it. About 5 o'clock when it's time for him to go home, it'll be all sorted. All this big melodrama it's creating now, it's just show how important it is.